How you doing today, folks? This is Dan Powers from Champion Solutions Groups, and what I want to show you today is Champion's eBridge technology, and specifically Office 365 girder that sits inside of eBridge. That is an integration into all things ServiceNow. So to start with, we want to add our worker bee right here, Mr. Drew. So here's our level 1 help desk operator. And today he's coming into work and he's working on basically some tasks to provision users, new users, and provision their email accounts. So Drew is going to log in ServiceNow, and from here he's going to be able to select some applications that we have. Now in this particular one, we're going to select the Office 365 eBridge girder. Now the capabilities of our girder provides data back into that CMDB, that change management database. So from ServiceNow perspective, and Drew as a level 1 help desk can see all aspects of what is inside of ServiceNow. So let's take a look at what his console may look like for a minute.
So as you can see, we can bring up Drew's console. Now from here, you can tell that, yes, he is in Office 365. We're on the Office 365 dashboard. And because eBridge and this Office 365 girder is pulling information and populating that CMDB, Drew can get a complete picture of everything that is allocated and licensed and usage in the Office 365 environment, from Office 365, things like Excel, Word, all those cool things we like and know, but also down to who's using Intune, Windows 10, Azure pricing. We get all sites of information and insights on license counts, and even if there's any incidents being reported at this particular moment. Again, clicking the license tab, we get a complete view and overview of all the licensing. What are we being charged by Microsoft, and what are we actually using? So it's pretty powerful. And again, we go through some of the subscriptions that this company actually has at the moment, even down to the user side, where we can come in here and even click on any particular user and actually understand all the types of licenses, like Microsoft Intune or Active Directory, Premier, and so forth. What is actually allocated to an individual, and what are they actually using? So all of this is very powerful to enable your level 1 support staff to understand this. But in this case, what we're doing is Drew has got a request to provision some new user accounts. So that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to come in here to the Office 365 provisioning, and he's going to go to onboarding some user licenses, and maybe he's going to select somebody. Oops, get a name I can actually type here. And we can find a particular user, and we can find the particular group they're in. Let's say this is going to be in the marketing department. So we're going to allocate new users. We're going to make like. And in this particular case, we know that we need to add 5 new licenses to this. So what we can do is click on the Order Now tab right here. Now, I'm not going to do this and kick off an order tab in our Office tenant, but this is what would happen from Drew's perspective, because he needs to order these licenses. He does not have permissions or the authority to do so, but he can certainly make the request. And this is how easy it would be from Drew's side. So let's go take a look at what happens after this.
So once that kicks off, the automation workflow happens, and some of these are built into the Office 365 girder. So this workflow gets called by the Office 365 girder and now has to find the manager or approval to actually make those things happen. So the real world example, what would happen is an email would go off. Drew could be monitoring this or going off to another task at this point, but an email would be sent to the director or manager. Let's say it's Tammy. And let's say Tammy could be sitting in a meeting at the moment at some other faraway location, or in her office, or driving in her car. So she'll get interrupted by a quick message to her phone. Once her phone gets it, she could either say yes, approving the request, or she could say no and denying it. And that would be reflected in the work order and everything's tracked. Once Tammy does this, then we're able to watch the automation kick off. So if we go back to Drew's view and inside ServiceNow, that automated workflow happened. Office 365 girder calls over eBridge, which is the core technology from Champion. And in this case, because it's Office 365, we're going to do a call out to the Office 365 tenant. We're going to allocate those licenses. We're going to apply them to the users, and everything is good to go. So we made a level 1 person be much more workable in this effort here. So you can see how the automation workflow works very easily by integrating these enterprise applications, in this case Office 365, with ServiceNow, making your level 1 staff much more So at the end of the day, if you have one of those HR modules like the service module, ServiceNow module here for HR, that onboarding and offboarding of users can actually happen without that level one analysis. That frees him up to do other tasks and work. So that same workflow that we Drew had done as level one can be handled directly from your HR module for that onboarding and offboarding of users, calling eBridge and CSP technology to provision your license and user accounts for Office 365. Here at Champion, we're all about orchestration and automation and making sure you get the most out of the products you've chosen. Thank you for watching.